week where we talk about what's happening in the world and what you need to do next. And so I was looking at everything that is happening in the world right now. And I'm talking floods, pestilence, there's a lot of stuff happening in the world. And the thing is, knowing what to do next is going to be one of the most important things you can do. It'll help you navigate the future and what's coming. And a lot of people right now are wondering, what do I do? Do I wait? What is going to happen to the markets? What's going to happen to this? This morning, I noticed cryptocurrencies exploded this morning. And I'm thinking, okay, what's going on? And silver and gold and all those precious metals exploded and took a big jump over the weekend. And the thing you should be asking yourself is, why is that happening? But let's take a look at a few of the things that we are going to talk about right now. A lot of people are right now getting towards that part of the end of the month where they're not getting that $600 or $1,200 or whatever $100 people get to help them pay the rent. And we have a very big problem that's going to happen at the end of the month, where people are like, oh my gosh, I am going to be without a home, and I still don't have a job, and I still don't have these things in place. Well, then you have to ask yourself, what's the next best move? And here's the thing. If you think, well, I'm so wealthy and it's not going to happen to me, some of the biggest losses that are happening right now is that the people who are wealthy, who are heavy in debt, who have debt as running their business or paying for their payroll or paying for their house or their lifestyle. I got news for you. Your consumers are being hit so hard that even the upper middle class people who make, anywhere from 100,000 to 250,000 a year, they have stopped buying. Their spending has dropped 16%, and it's still dropping slowly over a period of time. We have this pandemic in place. We have floods in China that are so huge right now that they know there's going to be famine. They know they can't get these factories up. They can't get these things up right now. And so the number one thing you want to be asking yourself is, what does your community need that you can offer them so that you can make a living? What does your community need? And if you can manufacture or have a cottage industry, right now is your time. The one question you need to be asking yourself right now is, what is my next best move? The number one thing for a lot of people is just to become educated. And so here's what the education thing is literally marred with different philosophies. So we have a lot of, what do they call them? Conspiracy theories right now that are coming forward. There's a lot of people thinking that somebody's trying to remove our rights, or what about the shots, or this pandemic is just growing and growing and growing, and we're going to need to shut down again. There's a lot of, I shouldn't be forced to wear a mask. You should be wearing a mask because it's polite. There's a lot of opinion that's created division and conjecture, and all kinds of speculation is happening. But nobody's asking them, what's my next best move for me and my family? There's not a lot of people actually looking forward to the future. However the pandemic got here, whether it was a plandemic or whatever it is, it's here right now. And it's going to take, I think, at least a decade to fix it. Now, 2008 did not have a pandemic. It didn't have an illness. It was just this subprime mortgage crash. And that still it's better, but it's still over a decade. And we're not completely healed from that, just that alone. So if we think this is going to be a 2 or 3 year deal, then you're shorting yourself. You want to know what is going to happen. I want to say good morning to everybody. I see you've popped on, and it's a big Monday. There's Monday Magic. Good morning, Marie Jo. Nice to see you on, my friend. Donnie, good morning. Nice to see you on as well. And I'm thinking probably Scott's out there somewhere, but The wealthy in the US are spending 16% less than they have, and that number is getting higher. Now, 16% of less doesn't seem like a lot, but 16% of 330 million spending 16% less, that's a lot. And it's affecting a lot of businesses, and things are slowed down. But it's not just the wealthy, it is also the middle class. So what's happening with educating yourself? Well, here's the thing. I believe we're going to need some really old school habits right now. Like, I think everybody needs to learn to grow food. Food is going to be scarce, and over this next decade, all around the world, these floods aren't just happening in China. They're happening in the Arab Emirates, and it's happening. There's so many floods happening everywhere. And what that does is it often ruins the farmlands for hundreds of years. It's not like you can just suddenly go back and that land will yield great crops with you and you can suddenly do it on the way. I knew it. Here he is, the fly on the wall, and I are one. Look at this. With 50 million and counting jobless, and all the other unknown statistics of mortgage, rent, car payments, breakdown of supply chain, what is next? Well, I kind of agree with Donnie when we talk about becoming self-sufficient. And we're going to need to use some old school skills and some new world skills. You need both of these skills right now. And that's what's going to help you kind of weather the storm that's coming, or weather your way through this. It is the fourth, I like this. It is the fourth turning. I'd like to know a little bit more about that, please, Scott, if you could give a definition of what the fourth turning is, so that people who are with us can, understand what that fourth turning is. But what happens is, in this time, you have a window of opportunity right now. Especially if it's not affecting you. Some people are being affected right now. And I think the government should come forward and help those people, because they aren't bad people. These are hardworking people who had jobs, who had careers that got knocked out by the pandemic. This is not helping a bunch of, people who are lazy. These are helping the people who have always worked, who had worked hard, liked to work, loved what they did, and their businesses are closed and their ability to serve their customers are closed. And somehow you have to ask yourself, are we going to roll back as a country? Because right now, the United States, it's like, it's over the top. I have like some hair in my eye or something there. It's just driving me crazy. We're so over the top with coronavirus right now as compared to every country. And I know every country is probably looking at us going, what did they do? Or maybe even some countries think, well, they deserve it because they're, so arrogant Americans, blah, blah, blah. But whatever that is, whatever they believe doesn't matter if you're living in this country. If you're living in any country in the world, you're going to see food shortages. If you're living in any country in the world, you're going to see job shortages coming up. It doesn't matter what country you live in. These are the things that are there. If you're living in any country right now, it is going to take you a decade to kind of traverse and go from this old way to this new way. It's a path. It's going to take a decade, and you need to plan right now. You're either going to sink or swim by the actions you take right now. You're going to sink or swim over that next decade, and by the actions you take right now. Look at this. Yes, and I need to learn these skills, please. Yes, we all do. And we are actually working on helping people with this. I hate to tempt fate by asking that question. Let's think common sense leaders stepping up, great yields in the garden, good weather, effective vaccines, and amazing community. I know that you would like to, hate to tempt fate by asking that question. What's your next best move? What is the thing that's going to happen next? You have to know where the storm is coming. We like to sometimes think, oh my God, the storm isn't going to hit us because I'm praying. And yet the tornado comes right through your town and knocks everything out. Just because you're spiritual, just because you're thinking, doesn't mean that the natural disaster is going to wind around the spiritual people. The natural disaster does not discriminate between good people and bad people, right people and wrong people. It doesn't do duality. It does what it does because it makes its statement right there. And we need to know what we can do next. Just like that, just like she said right here, it's so perfect. You have to have some common sense. Great yields in the garden, good weather, effective vaccines, an amazing community. You can build those things right now. Thank you, Scott, for this. The fourth turning describes a theorized reoccurring generation cycle in American history and the global history. It was devised by William Strauss and Neil Howe. According to the theory, historical events are associated with reoccurring generational personas. Each generation's persona unleashes a new era lasting around 20 to 22 years in which a new social, political, and economic climate exists. They are part of a larger cyclical, I can't even see that word, saeculum? Is that saeculum? Where was cyclum? Okay, I'm trying that word. That's a new word for me. The theory states that after every cyclum, a crisis reoccurs in, ooh, don't do this to me. I want to see the rest of it. No. It won't let me see the rest of it. It's gotten, if the comments are too large in StreamYard, it just says stop. Hey, Jane, good morning. Nice to see you, love. Thank you for being here with us today. So, wow, you are like a local Google, great description, and hope that is it. Yes. So, yep, every 20, 22 years, very interesting to check it out. You'll be amazed. And this is so important to me here too. When there are billions counting on the farmers and over 575 hectares already destroyed in China alone, we are speaking famine. And most people want to avoid this. They're like, no. We live in the land of plenty. The streets are paved with gold or cheese, whichever cartoon you watch. This is the plan. We don't have famines here. Weather is changing so quickly. Growing days are decreasing dramatically. How do we circumnavigate that? Believe it or not, you want to think about it now. Why? Oh, here we got part 2. I'll be right there at part 2. Because now you might be able to find a greenhouse or something that you can find that may not be there as China loses their ability to produce. And we haven't revved up production around the world. And we have these pandemics going. So Scott is he is an encyclopedia. Part 2, here it is. In American history, which is followed by a recovery. During this recovery, institutions and communitarian values are strong. Ultimately, succeeding generational archetypes attack and weaken institutions in the name of an autonomy and individualism, and which ultimately creates a tumultuous political environment that ripens conditions for another crisis. This is very interesting. We have always been communitarians when we're, looking at our 40s and our 50s. And I remember when the 80s came around, it became the me generation. Me. It was he who died with the most toys wins. And we became the me generation back then. Hey, Anna, nice to see you on, girlfriend. Good Monday morning to you. Nice to see you here. So what happens is we have forgotten community, but not only have we forgotten community, we have forgotten how to build it so that we respect each other in a community, that discord and fall apart and tantrums and things like that don't happen in a community. That's the thing that has to be looked at. It's a thing that tribal people did. I mean, I know most native tribes, they have a big thing about where they respect their elders. And in some tribes, the grandparents actually teach the children because they have the most wisdom, etc. I think the family unit, The family unit is one of the strongest forms of tribe right now. And your business networks, tribes are all about the future. I think it was Seth that wrote about it. I read it a long time ago, but being functional in a tribe is going to be really great. There's a book out by Christine Comerford, who I really admire as a businesswoman. I should ask her to be on the show. Christine Comerford, she has a book called Smart Tribes. And it's how to, get function and productivity back in your tribe, usually at offices, but it's applicable to anything, really, anything that is tribal that you're working with. And in that book is principles as to how, and tools you can get it as to how to get these functioning tribes back. And I think that's going to be super important going into this dilemma that we're going to, this change, this transformation, this era. I want to let's talk turkey, people. You have to get it together. We are beyond preparing. You just now take action. What will that action be? Thank you very much. Thank you, Donnie. I always try to be polite. But let's get factual. Your window of opportunity is shrinking. And you don't want to be at the last minute running around trying to find your tribe, trying to find this stuff, trying to put into place, you want to do this now. There's going to have to be a revolution about how we treat each other and how we work together. And moving from that me, mine, now generation to having some sense of community where we work together. And sometimes that's tough. My sister says to me, I'm sorry, I don't have a straw and I have to drink. My sister says to me, oftentimes it's the strong that give to the weak. It's just the nature does that. It's the strong that give to the weak. And so if you look at it, mommies do that. Mommies are very strong. They have the baby, they give to the weak until the baby is strong enough. And the other thing is, in crisis time, it's that those who are the strongest, they win. And here's the thing. The number one thing you're going to need to get you through whatever's happening right here is your health. And somehow we have to take better care of our health, whether it's herbal or not. But it is that time. It's let's talk turkey. I mean, let's just be honest right now. You have to get it together. We're beyond preparing. You just have to take action now. What will that action be? I think everybody needs to learn to become a farmer again. I don't think there are going to be those lovely Saturday farmers markets where everything is fun and inexpensive and you pick up flowers and all the vegetables you want or things that you want. Food inflation is coming, and in some areas, food famine will start this year around September, October, November. There are places in China already where the floods are so bad they don't even have rice to eat. They have nothing in their home. They've absolutely eaten everything they could eat. And the food isn't coming back. There are people that were violent fighting in shops for what little food was left. And if all you do is come home and see your own little world and you don't see what's happening outside of the world, you can have a tendency to think you're safe, you're not vulnerable in any way, that it's not going to happen to you, that it's just some hoax or made up story, etc. But if you go out with just your own basic discernment, you don't need a weatherman or an economist. You can just look at the massive amount of floods, 575,000 acres, just hectares, gone right now. And think, if they're underwater and they have all that pollution on them, how many years are they going to be without that land to farm on? How many years? How much soil do they have in stores right now for you to use to make potted plants? So these solutions that are coming up, we need bigger solutions like community gardens and things like that. Or here's your plot at a community garden. You can actually, grow your stuff or whatever. But my point is, if you ignore this, you are in harm's way. Now, You know how they have that story about the guy who was stuck on the roof and he was praying to God, save me, save me, save me. And God says, well, I sent you a boat, and the boat came by and you were like, hey, no, God's going to save me. And then, the raft came by and hey, God's going to save me. And then the helicopter came. No, God's going to save me. Right now, you have to look at what God wants you to do to save you, not waiting to save him. You have to do this now. If you think, well, my life's all good and great and everything else, it's not going to affect me. It may not affect you now, but this is a domino thing. It's a big domino thing that's going around the whole world. Pandemic starts in China, weaves its way all around China, crosses the ocean, over here, hits Italy, kind of goes to Italy, then comes over here, Europe, then slams the United States down over here. It's one big domino thing. It'll fall, and in time, it will hit your domino. Now, whether your domino falls or not depends on what you do right now. Now, remember last week we talked about how the human being is like a Swiss Army knife. You have a lot more things. You probably have a cork opener. There are a whole bunch of things you can do to get started. Right now, that's the time to get started. But the thing I'm telling you is supply chains from far away are affecting businesses over here. There are 2-3 month delays, 3-week delays, 4-month delays right now. Those things that are underwater in those manufacturing plants, doesn't matter what the pandemic is doing right now. Those factories, they're done. They have to be rebuilt. Remember what happened to Sandy? Those buildings in Sandy, we had to rebuild those boardwalks. And however long that took, that's how long it took. And if you have no money and no help and no insurance, or you're waiting for insurance, there's still some people from Katrina that are waiting for insurance to do something. And that's what it means to be in that secondary wake-up call here that we've got going on. Look at you guys. Thank you all. Hey, Sean's in. Sean, that place that you were just at, Sean, tell me you're still there. That McCall, it's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, let's get our smart tribes up. I will be talking about that. Yes. Move from being a me-centric to a tribe-centric. Who's in your tribe? Now, I want to let you know that if you're in a tribe right now, then you are, it's like if you're in a tribe right now, you better make sure you have the right people in the tribe. If you have people that are just riding your coattails or only doing what they like or only, here's what I want to do, get them out. Get them out of your tribe. You want people who are going to do exactly with you, work beside you. They don't have to equal your skill because, a child wants to help, but they can't help as much as another adult can. But whatever they want to help, whatever they want to do. I'm hoping this right here. Yes, we need to take care of our house. Most importantly, yes. That is, yeah. I want to talk to you right here. This is the truth right here. Farmers markets will be like Black Friday at Walmart if you don't take care of yourself. This is a time where we have to figure out how to do some of that ourselves. It's a lot easier than you might suspect. A lot easier. I like this. Buy local. You want to support every local business that you can. Anything that says mom and pop. Anything that does anything that is mom and pop, made in your country, made in Australia or made in Italy, made in America, made in Japan, wherever you are in the world, you want to support every local business that's there for you. Every single cream that you buy or food that you buy or something else. If you can buy it from your local guy, you are supporting them to make them scale out and grow bigger and provide for you longer term. That is going to be so important. There's always an appetite for fresh food. Yes, there is. It's just, what will the farmer trade his fresh grown food for? Is it going to be dollars or something more substantial? That is also a good key question. So the next thing I want to talk about is foraging. Now, I want to let you know that lessons in foraging used to be part of what you grew up with when you were a little kid. when they told you where the berries were or what. And I remember even until my 20s, my mother and my father, my stepdad, would forage with us seasonally so we could find and know what those foods were. And I got the foraging lesson from the time I must have been, I don't know, 4 years old to about 20, till say really 22, to I really could forage for myself, literally go out into those forages. Now, I know Sean Olson is on. Sean put a picture of a mushroom. It's a boletus mushroom, which is an edible mushroom. And he put his foot by it to show everybody how big the mushroom was there. And there's a lot of mycology in that area that can keep you fed and everything else. Those foraging skills are going to come back. And the more independent and sustainable you become, the more you're going to be able to weather this. It's going to be a full decade. Now, can you get rich during this time? You betcha. There's so much opportunity to become mega rich. I mean, richer than I want to become. I'm not one of those people who want, 100 million, 300 million, $1 billion, because I know you're working all the time. And I want to go bike riding and fishing and canoeing and those fun things that everybody do. I want to take those road trips with my friends. I want to sit down and have long meals with my family where we talk about everything and we have fun and we do those great things. That quality of life I want to have. I'd rather have that mountain place like Sean has, where his whole family comes together and has a great time. Those are the kinds of quality of life I want to lead. I don't need jets, like here's my private jet and I'm finally somebody because I own a jet. Or look, I finally got that Lamborghini I want. I'm like, what's my finally? I finally have all the time with my family I want and the money to take them places and have experiences with them. Those are the things that matter to me. And right now, one of the things that matters to me is that I don't have a child that goes with an empty belly at night, and that I can give to charities and help my neighbors and spend time with really great people with good hearts. That to me is what I want. So I want to do this down here because I love Donnie's comments today. Do you know how to can your own food? I do. That's one of the old world things that we know how to do, that we were taught. That's just our generation. Do you know how to dry meats? I got to admit, I only know how to make beef jerky and the thing, but learning how to dry meats, do you understand the wild edible foods that surround you? This is that foraging thing that's so important. There's so much food around people that people think are weeds. You have to educate yourselves on those. Nature surrounded us with natural remedies, and they may even be growing in your yard. Start studying and understanding your surroundings on a deeper level. Thank you, Donnie. I think that's one of the most important things. You also want to get some computer skills. Like making money online is going to be one way, and making money offline is going to be another. Look at this. I like this, Karen. Thank you so much. Physical, mental, emotional, psychological, spiritual, financial, and health. All of those things need to be, we're reevaluating what we've done. Just face it. I mean, I'm part of this thing. People have become so used to the heat and serve meals. Heat and serve. You don't even have to know to cook. You can go to a restaurant every single night. I'm so guilty of that. I'm the person that was like, I'll meet you out for this contract. I wrote off every meal because I always did business at every meal, so that every meal surrounded that. And I never spent the time cooking. I cook more now than I ever have. And truth be told, Robin cooks more now than ever have. And the gardening, the being able to run out your back door, clip that fresh food, come in, whip it right up and have it that fresh from farm to table, very empowering. You do not need a big place. You can do apartment gardening right now, but you got to learn it right now. Not even sure that we will have them. Can't imagine someone driving this remotely to deliver food. Yes. It's not going to be as easy as a lot of people imagine. They think things are going to go back to normal. They are not going to go back to normal. Here's everybody's favorite person to say stuff. Thank you, Marie Jo. Changes are happening for sure. We are not transitioning at the same rate. Yes, this is a big deal right here. This is the thing. Lots of people are clueless about farming and frankly are not interested until real scarcity happens. Yes, they will find out sooner rather than later that Netflix is not the solution. Yes. And this is the thing, isn't it? This is the point right here. We're not, that's why I'm talking about it today. I'm trying to let's put a log, a fire under you and say, I've got to do something. What can I do? We're not transitioning at the same rate. Some people are taking action right now because they know it's coming. And some people are in their own story about what they believe is happening. So we're not transitioning at the same rate. Lots of people are clueless about farming and frankly are not interested until real scarcity happens. That's the thing this is the truth right here. I think I get on and I talk about this because of I'm just like, if I can help one person. Lots of people are clueless about farming and frankly are not interested until real scarcity happens. They will find out sooner rather than later that Netflix is not the solution. And that's it. Sometimes we've been watching so much. This is what I like about you. Just Mary Jo, it's like the brilliance that pops out of you, sister. I'm telling you, I love that. That's so, look at this. More brilliance from MJ Caesar, of course. Let's go back up here. You may have hit the nail on the head. I look at my own East Coast family. They didn't see the writing on the wall and they don't understand how to do those old world skills. So if you do know how to do all these old world skills and people want to know how to do them, charge them for it. Charge them to teach them how to do those things. That's the whole beautiful part of those skills. We're going to have a lot of those sustainability skills. We're so blessed here. We have a renowned herbalist that can visually identify all healing and food herbs, things we usually ignore as weeds. Foraging opportunities in cities is very different than those in rural areas. Yes, it's a very different skill set. Yes. And we have droves of people right now that are leaving the city. So yes, that's true. I'm going to be closing this in a bit because we're over by about 10 minutes, but I want to get to these because I think they're so important. On our property, there are 4 types of wild lettuce, 2 types of different wild spinach. There are superfoods, purslane, amaranth, lamb's quarters. Nature provides a plethora of natural remedies right in front of your eyes. I totally agree with that. In that vein, island living gets really scared. Yes, when you're on an island, you got to hunker down. It's going to be, tough when you're on an island. How true, Marie Jo. This is also the alarming part. It is just like the story of the ant and the grasshopper. Yes. Hungry people do not think in a logical manner. Hungry people become desperate, and understandably so. That's absolutely true. But here is the number one threat to the world right here. This is the number one threat to the well-being of everything. If we could get these people on board and everybody start community gardens, we could avoid a lot of what is coming. We are not transitioning at the same rate. Lots of people are clueless about farming and frankly are not interested until real scarcity happens. They will find out sooner rather than later that Netflix is not the solution. I'm going to leave that there because I think this is such an important, potent part of what we need to know today. Thank you for this, MJ. That's what I have for you today. Tuesday topic is going to be fun. We're going to be live at 11 o'clock, and I'll see you guys there. Have a great start to the week. Do something. Mwah! Peace out. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.